welcome to another, almost said vlogmas, booktube video from me, Lauren, at Lauren and the Books. And it's Christmas gift guide day, one of my favourite days of sort of Christmas videos. And I've got my Christmas gift guide jumper on. It just so happens that every time I film a Christmas gift guide, I'm wearing this jumper. At the beginning of each video, I show you the jumper. We're no different today. This is a very, very, very old H&M jumper that I have. I think it was like $6.99 or something. It's made out of like thinner material, which is quite nice to wear over things. Like I've worn it over this shirt, which is also nice with mushrooms on. And yeah, it's the Christmas gift guide jumper. Welcome to the Christmas gift guide. I love watching Christmas gift guides. I love watching them and I love making them, and I've loved making this one today. So what I normally do, and what has continued into this Christmas gift guide, is that the books are in the middle. So there's books, there's also bookish items at one end of the video, the top end if you're wondering, and then less bookish stuff, but stuff that I think is really great and would be really great for gifts, and I've either received as gifts, actually all of those things I've received as gifts, or I'm buying for people this year. So part of this video is sponsored by the wonderful people over at Serious Readers, and you will hear more about those guys and their wonderful reading lamps a bit later on. But let's kick off with some bookish items. So first bookish and exciting item, puzzles. Now I'm bookish and I love puzzles. Imagine being bookish and loving puzzles, and also a very sort of like niche bookish puzzles. So earlier this year I bought myself the World of Jane Austen puzzle when I was visiting Summer in Canterbury, which the name has escaped me. Anyway, they were doing Jane Austen week there, and it just coincided with me doing June Austen. Earlier this year I read lots of different books by Jane Austen, plus like retellings and adaptations of Jane Austen books, and this seemed to be the perfect thing to do whilst that was going on. So this amazing puzzle is, and I will show you, has a little bit of, it has the puzzle, it has the poster inside of the puzzle, so spoilers for what the puzzle looks like in the end. It's absolutely gorgeous, with all the sort of like Jane Austen characters and places that the novel is set. And then on the back of this poster it has an index of all the characters that are on the poster, and then little facts about them. So if you're a Jane Austen fan, that is great. It doesn't stop there though, guys, because also later on that year I only found out they did a World of Tudors one as well. Now you may well know that I've been reading the 6 Tudor Wives series by Alison Weir, all of Henry VIII's 6 wives, and a book about their lives, and I found out that there was a World of the Tudors one, so that definitely went on my list. So if you've got somebody who enjoys reading books from around that period, then great. They do a whole range of these World of. There's a Shakespeare one. Please go and check them out, because I think they're really fun, sort of like bookish gifts. And also, there is nothing I like more than to do a puzzle and listen to an audiobook at the same time, and yeah, it's just perfect. So those are from the World of range, which I really think are great. But I had to include one more puzzle because I think this is perfect for readers. I was sent earlier this year by Big Potato Games the puzzle Mayhem in the Library, which is an 1,000-piece puzzle with this sort of artwork in, set in a library. And the fun thing about this is that there is 101 book titles hidden within this puzzle, and on the piece of paper where you are looking at what the puzzle looks like, it has the space to write those puzzles. So if we just have a little look at the front of this, I'm just going to see if I can find what oh, so for example, here, can we see? Here, there is a bell in a jar. I can only assume that's the bell jar. So there is 101 of those, and I'm very excited to get doing this. I think I'm going to do this between Christmas and New Year. Looking forward to it, looking forward to audio booking while this is going on. So puzzles, absolutely great. The next up is something that I am so excited about, and readers, I think there's probably going to be quite a lot of people who are going to want to put this on their Christmas list. And also, if you have a bookish person in your life and you're always frightened of buying that person books because you're worried that they might own them, then this is probably the perfect gift. It is the Ultimate Reading Challenge, and this is this bigger book than I expected it to be, and inside there are 25 different goals that you get to complete, and every time you complete one of these goals there's a little prize, a little treat, a bookish treat inside these envelopes for you. So isn't this just a wonderful thing to buy a reader? I love setting goals for myself in terms of reading, and some of these goals are absolutely amazing. Now I have, because I'm going to be doing this next year, I think I'm going to start doing this as part of my Friday reading vlogs. I didn't want to open all of them because I wanted to have some surprises next year, so I picked 3. And what I really like about this is that not only are there reading challenges, so for example, read a graphic novel, or read, oh, well let's start with this one because I've actually opened this one. Read a book that features an Indigenous person, and then once you've done that, you get to use this beautiful little Bookish bookmark, which has loads of little prints of bookmarks in. There are also, as well as sort of like reading challenges, there's things like visit your local bookstore and ask a bookseller to recommend a book based on your recent favourites. And then once you've done that, you get a lovely little cup holder, which has got a Bookish print on it, which is really sweet. And then, as well as sort of like book-based challenges, there's also reading-based challenges, like read in a place you've never read before. And then once you've done that, you get a little keyring with a typewriter on, which is just adorable. So yeah, reading challenges, book-based challenges, like book challenges, it's just an absolute delight. So really think that's a great idea for people who want to buy for a bookish person but are nervous of doubling up in a book they've already got or have read, etc. Great idea. Next up in the Christmas gift guide is exciting bookish item for exciting bookish people. This amazing reading lamp, which was sent to me earlier this year by serious readers. You will notice that this reading lamp was in the back of all of my videos when I was filming in front of the bookshelves. It has now moved with me because this is my winter setup, and I thought I'd show you what it's like in my winter setup. And I was absolutely elated when serious readers got in touch with me earlier this year and asked if they could send me a reading lamp, one of which I didn't own before. I was just simply using lights in the room. And when the reading lamp arrived, elation continued, because honestly this has been such a gift in terms of enhancing my reading experience, and just especially as the evenings have been drawing in, being able to have a light that is changeable within the room and also doesn't really sort of like glare up the whole rest of the room because it's such beautiful daylight light. It uses a technology called daylight wavelength technology, which replicates daylight. It is incredible. I've recently been doing a not so secret cross stitch project for my impending nuptials, and I've been using this, and it has been such a help, as well as helping with the reading. Now when I got chatting to the lovely people at Serious Readers, Tom told me that the technology that is used in these lamps is also used in sewing machines, so that's why it's so helpful for other sort of like intricate projects as well as reading. And I also watched Jen's video recently. Jen has also been working with Serious Readers, and I learned from her video that the technology there is in these lights is used in submarines and spaceships. So why not have that wonderful technology in your home to help you read? And it really has helped me read. So now my favourite way to read with it is to have it above me, shining down. Ta-da! I can adjust this, so as the night sort of like, as it's just getting dark, I put it on this sort of setting, and then as it gets darker and darker I can enhance it and make it brighter. And also, not only is it great for one use because it's perfect for me to sit here and read this with this light above me, a Christmassy book, of course. I've also used it for David and I both reading. You may well have seen me do that in the Cozy Reading vlog, Cozy Reading Night vlog. And yeah, when we're both sat on the sofa there, we can have it on us there. These lights are made and constructed in the UK, and I cannot tell you, like I said, how much it has enhanced my reading. It's a real treat, and I think if you have a reader in your life, then they will definitely love one of these. They're also personalisable, so I've picked the finish on here and the white colour and the stand. And extra special treat, if you use the offer code Lauren7 at the moment on Serious Readers, and I will link all of this down below, the offer code, the landing page, you are currently going to be given this free lamp worth £150, which uses some of similar technology to what we have in the light here. Now this light is as bright, and David has it on his desk, and it's not plugged in at the moment because I've got it from David's desk, but also super great to have as a bedside light, or it's helped me with puzzles and things before. Great company, great gift, great people, great offer code. So as I said, you can use the offer code Lauren7 and you will get this light here free with any purchase from the Serious Readers company, and you also get free of shipping and postage. So please do go and give them a try. And I'm going to head back over to the Christmas tree. Shall I do this? Yeah, let's do this. Oh, she's back, and we're back onto the books now. So we're entering the bookish section of the video, and we're going to start with the non-fiction books. So the first is a little bit similar actually to the reading challenge book I showed you earlier. These are two books that were sent to me and are written by a fellow booktuber, by Eric Carl Anderson, and I just think they're such a great idea. Like I said earlier, I really like to sort of like challenge myself to different reading challenges and lists and things every year, and I think these are really, really great for people like that. And also similarly, if you have a bookish person in your life that you want to buy books for but don't want to buy them a book that they might already have read or had, then these are great. So these are a collection of lists of 50 books that Eric has pulled together. 50 books to read if you're an armchair detective, so crime and thrillers and things like that, and I'll give you a little taster of what's in here. Murder at the Mansions by Sarah Rossett, which came out in 2022, so really recent stuff, guys, and also stuff that I've never heard of because I've not heard of that book. An Expert in Murder by Nicola Upson, and like more like, so for example, I'm sure there's like Agatha Christie and sort of like older books. Oh yeah, The Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie. And in it gives you like a little synopsis of the book. And it also gives you a star rating to fill in and a date read. So if you wanted to set yourself a little reading challenge, like I think I do next year, there's the Armchair Detective version of that. And also the 50 books to read if you're a hopeless romantic one of that. And in here are things like As a Woman in Love by D.H. Lawrence, which is from 1920. Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo in 2017, love that book. Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson from 2021, and yeah, I just think they're really great little bookish sort of like stocking fillers, or even if you wanted to maybe have a look in these books and buy somebody, if you want to take it a little bit further and buy somebody one of the books that's mentioned in these books, great idea. So love those so much. Great idea, Eric. And then next up I've got a couple of cookbooks, because I love to get cookbooks for Christmas. I feel like they really are a gift that keeps giving. And I also give a lot of cookbooks for Christmas. When I give a lot of cookbooks, I normally put a little note in saying, oh, I think you really like this this book, but why don't you make me this when I come over for dinner? Because I just think they're such a lovely idea. And like I say, something that you can just go on and carry on making for a long time. Now this book I got as a gift from my sister a few Christmases ago. This is Mira Sodher's East, and you can see from this book, these are all the things that I've made, so like way into like 3/4 of the stuff that I've made. This is a vegetarian cookbook, which has 120 vegan and vegetarian recipes from Bangalore to Beijing. So it covers a lot of cuisines in here, from Japanese, Chinese, Indian, all sorts of different things. And it's separated into really cool chapters like rice and noodles and eggs and like starters and stuff like that, sweet things, really nice. So if I'm thinking, oh, I'd like a dinner with rice tonight, then I can look at the rice chapter. And like I said, I've made so much out of here. The favourite thing I've made out of here is the pumpkin pumpkin curry. So I'm going to find it for you because it really is the best curry. And also my sister makes it all the time now. I've made it. Where is it? Pumpkin malai curry, which I've made loads and loads of times, and not only do I make it with pumpkin, I can make it with squash as well, and it is delicious. But there's so many amazing recipes in it and beautiful sort of fresh food photography, and I had a great time cooking from this the year before last, and it's a cookbook that I always reach for, and I think that's very important when buying somebody a cookbook. It needs to be really accessible, and these things are all really accessible. Next up, I've got a cookbook that was recently bought for me as a gift, and that's Midnight Chicken and Other Recipes Worth Living For. So I read the ebook of this on my e-reader earlier this year. I got it out from the library, and I just had such a beautiful time with it. When I got it bought for me off my wish list, I was so happy. So this is a sort of cookbook, but not really as you know it, really, because it's a story within a cookbook, and it hasn't got any sort of pictures of food, but it's got beautiful artwork. So for example, actually I've opened this. This is one of my favourite sections. This is picnics and pack-ups with beautiful artwork, and then when it's sort of like talking about the stuff it's making, it's not necessarily full of like lots of pictures and stuff, but a gorgeous picture of a picnic scene and for example pocket potatoes. I mean, who wouldn't want a pocket potato? And amazing recipes, but also filled with stories that go alongside these recipes. So when Ella might have had a picnic and what she might have been feeling like, and there's a lot in here about mental health, and there's a lot in here about sort of looking after yourself. And I really loved the message in this, as well as the amazing amazing recipes. It's very rare for me to enjoy a cookbook that has meat in it as much as I enjoyed this one, because I'm vegetarian. So the majority of cookbooks I buy are vegetarian, or I check that there's a lot of vegetarian stuff in there. And this is called Midnight Chicken, so you wouldn't think that I'd be up for it, but there is so much vegetarian stuff in here, and also just the stories. I mean, I've just opened it here, When in Rome, Burrata Salad, and it's all about, I first made this in Rome when I had gone on a whim to meet a stranger off the internet. I'd been having a bad day and a stranger said, "I love your writing, you seem like you're having a bad day. I've got a spare bedroom in Rome, come and stay." I found flights for pennies. They were horrible flights, of course, but they were there this Friday, so I booked them and I went. And it's just sort of like that sort of friendly, chatty, lovely vibe, cozy and comforting, lovely. Now we are entering the section of the video in which these are actual presents that I have bought people. So if I know you in real life, stop watching, because chances are you're going to see something that I've bought someone. The first book being for David. So David, this is your last warning, stop watching. And that is Alison Hammond's Black in Time. Now, I got this out from the library earlier this year and really loved it. Alison Hammond is a TV presenter in the UK. David is a massive fan of her. He has a t-shirt that has her face on it, so this is the perfect book for him. And this is Alison Hammond looking back at the most awesome Black Britons from yesterday to today, and also interviewing some of those Black Britons that are alive today. It's filled with really fun facts, and her tone, her hilarious sort of like way of talking, and similar to the Midnight Chicken book, sort of like chatty and cozy and comfy way of chatting, really comes along. So for example, here we're talking about Robert Vedenberg, who was a rebel with a cause, and he was a political activist and abolitionist, and he was around between 1762 and died around 1835 to 36. So here is a chapter that Alison said, and it's really in her tone of voice. Robert wasn't shy about coming forward. What he did in his lifetime touched on so many different areas. He passionately believed in being able to ask questions and in the value of human beings being treated fairly, no matter what their race, colour or class. And there's lots of like little speech bubbles which have like thoughts for Alison that Alison's been having, and it's just really brilliantly pulled together and so educational. I learned about many figures from Black British history in here that I hadn't heard of before, and I learned more about people that I already knew about. And this is aimed at like a younger audience, so it's great for all ages. I really would recommend, and yeah, just proper lol. And I imagine I will probably go back to it via audiobook sometimes, because if Alison is reading that, it will be hilarious. And then the last non-fiction book before we move on to fiction is a very beautiful and special book, A Ukrainian Christmas by Nadika Gerbish and Yaroslav Herzak. This was published actually before the Russia-Ukraine war began, but since it has been republished, and for every book that's sold, the publisher is making a donation to the Disasters Emergency Committee Ukraine Humanitarian Appeal. And this chronicles what Christmas is like in Ukraine and the history of Christmases in Ukraine, and it's interspersed with beautiful illustrations, varying sort of like colour palettes and stuff like that, and really separated into like stuff that I'm interested in about Christmas, like feasting and fasting, the Christmas tree, a ban on Christmas, Christmas truces, and yeah, like I said, it follows the what Christmas is like in Ukraine, and I think it would be a really nice thing to be able to gift a book like this, and also know that a percentage of the proceeds from this are going to a appeal for Ukraine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this a lot. And now we're on to the fiction books, and again, people I know, turn away because you might see something that you've been bought. The first is a collection of beautiful little books that I wanted to show you. And these are actually being released sort of all throughout the year. I've got some from the autumn collection and some from the winter collection, and I wanted to show you these before I actually add the winter ones to my Christmas TBR as well. So Coralie Bickford-Smith, who's a writer and an illustrator, already makes the Penguin cloth-bound classics books for Penguin, of which I own quite a few, and I normally get one or two around Christmas and my birthday as well. I know David's mum likes buying me one, my sister normally buys me one, David's bought me some in the past, and she's actually released these little sort of like mini cloth-bound classics, and this is the autumn collection. So titles in the autumn collection include Lady Susan by Jane Austen, which I've never read, Shirley Jackson, The Lottery. I've never read anything by Shirley Jackson. And then Lolly Willowes by Sylvia Townsend Warner. And there are 6, there might even be 8 in each series, but they're absolutely gorgeous. And like I say, seasonal, so you can see how sort of like autumnal and gorgeous that is. And also these ones have, the autumn collection have these little, within the diamond that the title is, have little autumnal leaves around it. So that's the autumn collection. And just lovely things that you like, lovely to have out and lovely to read, and really portable because they're very, very small, and just a lovely sort of like tactile, gorgeous gift. And then, as I said, there are some from the Christmas collection now, from the winter collection, and some of these titles are very Christmassy. So I always sort of like err on a don't give someone a Christmas book for Christmas, but I've really changed my mind about that in recent years, because it's really fun to read like a Christmas book sort of in that betwixtmas time, and still to feel really Christmassy. And also, like, a lot of the books I've got here are books that I get out every single year. So forget everything I said in the past about not buying Christmas books for Christmas, get them. The first one in the winter collection, and again it's a similar thing but much more sort of like wintry or Christmassy colour palettes and stuff, is Street Haunting by Virginia Woolf. Now I didn't know anything about this, and when I first bought it I thought these were icicles or snowflakes, but on looking I think they might be pencil sharpenings, and this is I believe, it looks as though, the only thing is that there's not many blurbs about here, but I think these are essays and sort of like non-fiction writings by Virginia Woolf. So, oh, and the little square here has like little, maybe like icicles, and little like snow bits coming off. And then we've got the Nutcracker by E.T.A. Hoffman, which I know is very Christmassy, and like I said, is going straight on my Christmas TBR, because I haven't read this before, and I know it's very, very festive, so that's going on the old Christmas TBR. That's so fun and Christmassy as well, look at that. And then I've got the Adventures of the Blue Carbuncle by Arthur Conan Doyle, which I have read before and is a sort of Christmassy Sherlock Holmes story, but within this book there's also other Sherlock Holmes stories which aren't Christmassy. Scandal in Bohemia, The Final Problem, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle, The Adventure of the Speckled Band, and The Adventure of Silver Blaze. Lots of adventures. So that's going on the old TBR now. Do you know, stick them in now. Stick them in now on the TBR. Why not? Next up is an adorable duology, written for younger readers, but I've read them this year, lent them to my sister, raved about them on Instagram, can't talk about how wonderful and cosy and like so much of a sort of like comforting balm they have been this year. And as I said, it's a duology, so we've got By Ash, Oak and Thorn and By Rowan and Yew by Melissa Harrison, and this is nature writing. Melissa Harrison, I've seen her talk at Cambridge Literary Festival before, and I've read one of her books before, and one of her novels before, and also some non-fiction nature writing of hers. But this is like the nature writing of my childhood. We're following the hidden folk in these books, and they are little folk who live within nature and sort of like wear little acorn hats and make tents out of leaves and make chestnut fritters to eat and things like that. They're just, it's all the sort of like stuff of my childhood that I used to imagine how people lived in nature when I was younger, and you're following their quest throughout the season. So this one is spring and summer, and this one is autumn and winter, trying to stay alive and stay in a community, and what that's like for these little folk and the sort of like animal friends that they make along the way. And the writing is just so beautiful, and like I said, like warm and cozy and like a beautiful nature balm, and for all readers. Again, like the Alison Hammond book, like I learnt stuff from these books where they're aimed at middle grade, like they're aimed at younger readers, and I had such a lovely time with it. And the front covers are just amazing, so can't recommend that enough, particularly for younger readers, but for all ages, people who want comfy reading. This is it, comfy and cozy reading. Then another book that I've read this year, which I had such a lovely time reading, and it's Welcome to Your Life by Bethany Rutter. I previously, before this year, was sort of like, women's contemporary fiction's not my thing, I don't really like romance books. But I have had a complete change around of that recently, because there have been so many more diverse women's contemporary fiction and romance books with sort of like different representation. And in this book, the protagonist in this book is a fat girl. Now, as somebody who is a bigger girl, I always looked for myself in those books when I was younger, and that was the sort of stuff I was reading, and never found myself. And this book here, when we're following Serena, who walks out of her wedding on her wedding day to somebody that she's always sort of like, she went out with him when she was at school, and since then she's got a bit fatter, and she's always just thought, oh well, I'll just stay with him, that sort of thing. And not only is it Serena like already loving herself and being an amazing babe, but it's sort of like Serena falling in love with London, where she moves when she's called the wedding off, and meeting a new friend at a new job she's got, and finding out that she is amazing at making clothes, always sort of like making clothes that she wanted because they weren't, she couldn't find the stuff that she wanted to wear in the high street because they didn't make clothes like that for a bigger girl. So yeah, great stuff in here about sort of like the romance and the dating side of things. Really fun in here. She goes on a number of dates and sort of like does them as little case studies, and they read hilariously. But I loved the deeper stuff in here about friendships with work colleagues and how much that can mean to you, and falling in love with a place, and like creating stuff for yourself because it's not out there for you to sort of like grab. I loved it. I thought it was really, really fun, really, really funny, and yeah, I would highly, highly recommend for, well, I would say lovers of women's contemporary fiction and romance, but like just a great book to read. Really, really fun, and yeah, great. And then the last two before we move on to non-bookish sort of Christmassy bits are, again, books that I've bought people. The first one is People Person by Candice Carty-Williams. Now, you will know that Queenie is one of my favourite books of all time. Was proper raving about that a couple of years ago. And this was Candice Carty-Williams' second adult novel. I've also read, I think, her novella, Ania, and I can't remember the other person's name in it, but I think that appeared on the Christmas gift guide last year. I went into this thinking, oh, is it going to be as good as Queenie? And it's completely different to Queenie, but completely different in all of the perfect ways that I wanted to have a book by an author that is completely different, and I still love it as much as Queenie. It's a proper page turner. So we are following Dimple, who is one of 5. She's got 5 half siblings. They all share the same father but different mothers, and she doesn't really have all that much to do with them or her dad, but then an event sort of brings them together, and they really get to know each other, and they really get to support each other, and sort of know each other's limits, and yeah, just like form a bond again. So forming a sort of sibling bond as adults, after not having that childhood together. And I loved it. It was so good. I wish I could tell you the event that happened, but I didn't know the event that happened, and it really took me by surprise. And like I said earlier, the page turning aspects of this was amazing. And yeah, I would read like these 5, I would read a book about each of those individuals because they were all so interesting and so sort of compelling to read about. So proper good book, as good as Queenie, maybe even a bit better, like proper page turner, cannot even tell you. And then this last book I bought for my mum and David's mum, that's Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, another sort of like real big crowd pleaser. So if you've got somebody who sort of likes reading but maybe just reads when they're on holiday or something like that, would highly recommend Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. We're following Elizabeth Zott, who is a chemist and sort of not your average woman. This is set in the early 1960s, and she works at a research institute, and when she falls pregnant, she sort of led to believe that she shouldn't be working anymore, and has to get a job somewhere else and make a life for her and her daughter elsewhere, with a sort of like community of women around her. She gets into sort of cooking, but in her own sort of like chemist way, which is really fun to read about. And like when you're hearing about the TV show that she's on, that's really well produced, and you can really imagine it as you're reading it. It's really coming off the page. But yeah, really good fun. Really had a great time reading that. It's really hard when you do these bookish gift guides, because you just don't want to include all the books that you're going to put on like the best books of the year award, but you also want people to read the best books that you've read that year. So yeah, hopefully there's a big range of books there that you will enjoy. And let us move on finally to the non-bookish but wonderful Christmas gifts that I would like to give you ideas for. This Christmas gift guide is going to be so long. Okay, so I wanted to shout out a few sort of smaller businesses here, and the first one I'm going to shout out is Nue Hoops, of which I am wearing these hoops now. So Nue Hoops is a mother-daughter owned company, which I found out about them from another gift guide a few years ago, but I can't remember whose gift guide it was. So they sell these beautiful hoops with charms that go on them. So I have a larger pair there with a smaller pair on, and I've got a little Diamante star on there, and then this is a little peace sign. But they all arrived in this little pouch. So I got these for Christmas last year and then treated myself to like the smaller hoops. And I've also got this charm, which I can put on them as well. I will show you that charm there. There we go. And they're just lovely, lovely earrings. My colleague who I share an office with always looked at them and said, oh, they're just so lovely. She's bought herself a range now as well. They do them in silver. These are in the gold. And they range from sort of like the smaller hoops, the gold ones, the silver ones are cheaper. The smaller hoops I think were £20. And then they go up a little bit in price the bigger they get. And then the charms can range anything from sort of £12 a charm to, I mean, expensive charms. So if you were looking for like sort of like a pair of earrings that you can change about, which I do all the time, and I often wear them without charms as well, so I'm never really seen without them now because they're just so comfortable and just so sort of effective. But yeah, I thought it was a really nice gift that we could keep sort of giving. I know people are really into sort of like things that you can gift one year and then just keep on giving, and I'm really, really happy for these to be kept on giving. They also now, which I don't own, but I've got a feeling David is getting me the necklace of it, maybe for our wedding day. He was very, very interested in it. You can wear these charms on a necklace, so you can buy a chain from Nue Hoops, and you can buy like little adapters, which mean you can hang the charms onto the chain, which I think is just a lovely thing as well. So yes, highly recommend them. Lovely, lovely gift. Then another sort of smaller business, which is a lot like Lush. So you will know that I'm a big Lush fan. I normally get the Lush advent calendar, but I haven't got it this year. But I found a smaller company that is based in Rye called Wideye. This came from my cousin Laura, like all good recommendations do. And I've actually visited the Wideye shop this year. I went in January early this year when Laura and I were up in Rye staying there for a nice weekend. And like I said, they're a lot like Lush. They make amazing bath bombs and soaps and stuff. And at the moment, they've got a wonderful Christmas range out. Look at this one. It's got a star anise in it and it's all sparkly, and they are so, so nice. The bath bombs they do bath melts. Here's one this is in winter mist, which is like a oh, she's dropped something, which is like a pepperminty thing, and this is more like the bath bubble bar, where you can sort of like keep using that for a few baths. I've been using their soaps ever since January because I just think they're amazing. And here's a Christmassy one of those. Very festive, very sparkly. I've got another, sadly I've been using quite a lot of this. I've got a clementine scrub bar at the moment that I've been using, and this is another little bubble bar. They're so cute. They're so, so cute, and they're really, really reasonably priced. And if you spend over £15 on their website, it's free posting and packaging, which is amazing. So as well as like the bathroom stuff, which I love, they also do quite a lot of fragrance things, which I'm really, really into. So I've got this natural room and linen mist, which I'm spraying all the time. And this is All Things Nice spray, but I've had this for like ages and it still feels really, really full. A little bit goes a long way, and every time when someone comes around, I'm like spritzing out a bit, and people are like, oh my god, it smells lovely in here. So highly enjoyed. And then they also do candles. This one is in, I'm sure this is in Winter Mist as well. No, it can't be in Winter Mist. I can't remember what this one is in. Something sparkle? Snowballs it's in. And then I've got which I haven't got out of the box yet because I wanted to show you, a diffuser in Winter Mist, which is spearmint, lime and lavender. So yeah, highly, highly recommend them. Been so delighted with all of them. This candle was really burned down and it's so lovely. It smells so nice every time I light it. And they've got all sorts, a lot of beard oil stuff, which I've bought David in the past. Natural air fresheners for your car and stuff like that. Really, really great company. Would highly, highly recommend. And so many soaps. If you're into soaps, get over there because it's amazing. Another small business, which I have shouted out before in my Christmas gift guide, it's Snagg. But this time, previously, Snagg used to just make tights, which are, I will also say, the best tights I've ever worn. But they've branched out into knickers, and I can't tell you how much I've been loving these knickers. So I bought 4 pairs of the high-waisted ones, and they're in the same sizes. So if you're already familiar with Snagg, they size you based on a letter, based on your current sort of like dress size. But I bought these in the, I'm an E, so that's sort of like 16 to 18. And these are the high-waisted ones. They came in red. I've got a red pair, a black pair, a blue pair, and then these ones, which I've been wanting to open but haven't because I wanted to show you the packaging. And it all comes in no plastic, which is amazing. So tights and knickers alike come in here. These are the full leg in E, and this is in the shade Figgy Pudding, which I've been really, really looking forward to opening. And I've just had them literally on rotate. I'm wearing them so much. And I actually put them on my Christmas list again because I've had such a lovely time with them. And yeah, there's the full leg. And I've also got an ultra high-waisted pair. And they just really hold you in lovely, and they're really gorgeous, lovely pairs of knickers. And with, as is the case with the tights on the website, the more you buy, the better discount you get. So I think if you buy, don't quote me on this, but I think if you buy 5 pairs, you get 5% off. And then if you were to buy more, you get more % off. So really, really, really enjoyed that as well. And then the last 2 things, one is a bigger company, but one that, something that I've been thinking about this, and something I use every single day, and is a really good gift that someone who is now dead has given me. And that's a Denman hairbrush. So if you're looking for sort of like longevity in terms of gifts, and I'm aware that this is plastic, but they now do inserts for these as well. A Denman hairbrush, my mum has the Denman hairbrush she had when she was 16. She is now in her 60s. And this was I remember Blue Water Shopping Centre. I remember being there with my nan and her boyfriend, and my nan being like, oh, Lauren, brush your hair. She was always saying to me, brush my hair. And my nan's boyfriend bought me this Denman hairbrush, which has strawberries on the back, and at one point smelled of strawberries. Weirdly, it does still smell a little bit of strawberries, and he bought that for me, and I think it was like £8, and I use it every single day. It's the best hairbrush I've ever owned. And like I say, my mum has still got hers from when she was 16, and they now do. So like if this was to get chewed up or something, instead of buying a whole new hairbrush, you can take this out and replace it with another one. So they are sort of like somewhere on the way to sustainability. But it will definitely, like I say, you probably only ever need one hairbrush, and it's a great, I've loved using this. So there we go, longevity. And then the last thing is also something that I've done this year. No, I did it last year, but I bought it for 3 people for their birthday presents this year. And that's a bra fitting. Now, this sort of extends to bra fittings, and have a little look around where you are in your local area. But I used a bra fitting, independent bra fitter, who she used to work as a bra fitter and as a visual merchandiser for an underwear company, and she now has a shed in her back garden where she does bra fittings. It's amazing. She's won all sorts of awards, and she is just amazing. And I went along there, and she basically measured me by eye. I cannot rave about this company enough, this woman enough. I will link it down below, but please do because I'm in Kent in the southeast of England, so please do investigate sort of like where you might be in the world, and see if there's something similar to where you might be in the world. Because I have I'd had 2 bra fittings before, one at Marks and Spencer's, no, 2 at Marks and Spencer's, and the second time she just wanted me to buy a bra. So she was like, I went there because I was a bridesmaid and I needed a purple bra, and she measured me, and then we went and had a look, and they didn't have the bra in my size, so she was like, oh, that'll probably fit you. It never did fit me. This woman the woman I went to see has so many different bras, and she looked at me and she was like, what are you after? And I said, oh, just t-shirt bras. And she fitted me for a bra, and they've never been more comfortable. The bra I'm wearing now, and the 3 bras I bought were really, really reasonably priced. They weren't that much more expensive than the Marks and Spencer's bra, the bras that I'd been buying beforehand, and they fit me perfectly. And within moments of me wearing the new bras, I could feel my posture was so much better, and I just felt so much more comfortable. And she taught me loads of stuff about bras in terms of like the upkeep of bras, washing them, how you should wear them. Like always start on the furthest apart sort of like fixture, and then you can move it in as the bra gives a bit more. And it was just an amazing experience. And I think if you own breasts or know someone that owns breasts, then please do see if you can get a good bra fitting, because yeah, it changed everything about the way I stood and what I was able to wear. And yeah, great, loved it. So there we go, the Christmas gift guide 2022. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again to Serious Readers for sponsoring a section of this video. Let me know down below what of these Christmas gifts you think you might like to receive, and I'll see you all again soon for another Christmassy booktube video. Goodbye.